Hello, it's Tally Interviewer here with this week's Speedpaint Sunday. Here, I'm a little bit too high up, I feel like. Let me move myself just to block a little bit less of the screen. Although there's not really anything super important over there anyway. Anyway, last week I attempted to do this and ran into a bunch of technical issues. It should be okay now. I ended up just updating, like installing the new updates for Clip Studio Paint, and that seems to fix things. The Yeah, hopefully it should be okay now. Anyway, so let's try this again. Meow, hello. The fluffy one has also joined us. All right. Let's see. What do we really need to put in the sketch? So there's kind of stuff going on here, and that's too much, I think. And the main kind of focal point stuff is like there-ish. Oops. Bunch of stuff here and a bunch of stuff over here. Um, I feel like this thing I need to raise up a little bit higher, probably. Something like that. Sort of. A bunch of other bits and pieces floating here and there. Some other stuff like over here. That's not as important to get into the sketch. Okay. I think that's good enough for the sketch. So let's start putting stuff in. Um, It'll do. At least for the top part. It's definitely kind of darker and more intense, but it could do for this stuff. Let's try. Just kind of start with the sketch of the colors, I guess. I think normally I try to go a little bit more what's the word, accurate, but I always really want to try to I guess I don't know how to put it, but just kind of capture the feeling more so than necessarily the exact colors, which is something I'm honestly not very good at. I feel like I have a tendency to get very literal with it and try to kind of exactly capture the specifics of the the original. I probably shouldn't be just doing all of this on one layer. Should this be a one layer one? Because sometimes I do it on one layer and it turns out just fine. Um, so like all of this stuff in the background here, the very blue stuff can easily be one layer. But then it kind of like transitions from this part into this greener part. And in order to make that a smooth transition, it would be nicer to have it on one layer as well. Potentially I could have this foreground stuff kind of on a separate layer, but it's also hard to see like over here. This is kind of more in the background, and at some point it transitions more into the foreground. So that would be hard to separate. Maybe I should just try one layer. I can do maybe like these rocks and maybe this pillar and this broken pillar fragment on separate layers. You know what? I think this is kind of shaping up to be a one layer one. I think we can do that. So let me start, not exactly the sky, but sort of kind of what would be the sky in this. It's always where I love to focus, as I'm sure you all have figured out by now. Get that all darkened up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put in more of the dark green here first. Blend that in. All right. Now let's go in with these dark blue bits on the sides. This side doesn't really get as dark as the other side. Some more. Get a big blendy brush. Make all of that a little bit softer, I think. We'll go in with extra bright colors in the center there in just a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Where do we want to go from here? I guess just, whoops, that is not what I wanted to use. Just make it extra bright. But maybe I went in too far here because this part is still pretty blue. So I think these like white rays of light I'm going to put in at the very end probably. So I'm going to save that for later. That I think I have too far over to the right here. It should be like lined up with this. Well, where my sketch originally was. I had it right the first time. Let's actually fade this out a little bit. And actually this shouldn't be this dark, I don't think. I'm gonna go ahead with the greener one and blend that in a little bit. Sort of like that. And the transition here is gonna end up getting covered by this bit. Okay, I think that's fine. Next I want to go even lighter here. Actually, I might even want to go with the thicker brush. I generally try to stay away from using like pure white, but this is very white, so yeah. Try to get a little bit of that in there. Again, I don't need to go all the way in with the white stuff because I'm going to be adding more on top later after it's finished. I think this might actually be a fine place to stop. Maybe a little bit more. I feel like mine isn't quite placed right. Again, I'm like shifting things over to the right a little bit. Like the center. No, no, it's okay. I think it should be a slightly to the left, but who cares? I can take creative liberties. Anyway. All right, I think so far it's turning out quite nicely. If anything, I might want to go like deeper and like more saturated in this area here. Not with that though. Yeah. There we go. Lighten it up a little bit around the edge of this. There's some various little rock formations and stuff happening. These bits that are hanging down, I'm also going to leave for later, just because they're kind of distinct against this, and I don't want them to blend in. So I'm going to do the blendy bits first, and then do the less blendy bits on top of them. That's the idea. All right. What's next? What's next? Should I start going in with this middle bit, maybe? Oops, wrong thing. I should mess around with this color mixing tab at some point. It seems fun. But for now... excuse me. I feel like that should be darker. Something like that. And then something like this. Put in some of these lighter bits here. Kind of blend back into the background here. Even more blendy. No, this part is going to need to go dark. Actually, even this color, I feel like it needs to be bluer also. It needs to be way darker than that. This part is very, very dark here. Let's get a new color for that. That's pretty good. This bit, again, I'll probably leave later. Though, I guess maybe I can start putting it in. The thing is, once I put this in, it's going to be hard to work more on this background stuff behind it. So you know what? I will leave it off for now. And similarly, these rocks at the front, I'm not doing yet. I keep clicking on the wrong thing. And let's see. We do want to get more of the light stuff out here. Just kind of softly blew this up a little bit. It's ended up a little bit too much of that bright teal color. But then again, maybe I'm just being too literal again. Maybe I need to just leave it be and let it be how it is. How's it looking so far? Not too bad at all. I think this thing ended up being too far to the right. Let me just go back to the sketch for a second. I think it needs to be more over this way. Hello, Lehatina. Thank you for joining. I think it looks good so far. Thank you. Yeah, I think so far this one's going pretty smoothly. Let's see. Now here comes the tricky part of figuring out what color this thing is supposed to be. I'm going to start by just giving it kind of more of a grayish color. And then we'll go from there. I need to be a little bit darker so it actually shows up here and doesn't just blend in entirely. So there's going to be parts in here that are super light, so we'll need to make sure to include that too. Let's just put that on the other color. Get some of my darker blues in here for the shading. That's not right. It's too dark, I think. Maybe this one. Quite right. Does this need really? I think having this green spot in there would help. Although this is too green, I feel like. Or maybe not green enough. I don't know. Kind of getting there. Um, it's more of like the blue shadows though. And maybe the shadows need to be harder. I feel like it's still not very well defined. It's kind of wishy-washy. Although that's how these speed paints always are, just because I need to kind of be a little bit fast and loose with things. So things are never really super well defined in these paintings. But I think one thing that would help this shape stand out is getting the stuff around it brighter to make it kind of stand out by contrast. That's like too blue. I need one that's greener. And I also need to remember to put the actual floaty bit in, but that's coming. For now, we gotta just trust the process. Go with this brush to blend that in more. Let's see. I did kind of lose the stairs. Let's see if I can get that in there. That's not the right color for it. It really isn't. These extra bits of highlights, I think I need to go with the brush so that it stands out even against this bit there. Something like that. I think maybe I'm spending too much time on this. Although we're halfway through and I think I've made quite good progress, to be honest. So I'm not super concerned on this one. Maybe I should be. I feel like when I relax too much is when the problems start happening. Okay, what do we need to get in? Really what we need right now is the details. So we need this floaty bit, we need all of the floaty bits on here. Before I start getting too heavy into that, I want to make sure that I get the the background in correctly. Yeah, you're doing good. Thank you. I do think this one is going quite successfully so far. I've definitely had worse ones. Actually, I haven't checked the values in a while, or ever on this one, to be honest. These bits are looking kind of too dark. The center thing is looking too dark. It needs to be brighter. This background thing needs to be brighter, but that I know that. I'm gonna come back to it. Okay, let's see. Oops. Ah! No, don't move things. What the heck? Oh, here we go. This extra dark bit is looking quite nice, in my opinion. Although, no, I feel like if I start doing that, I'm gonna have to darken up the dark bits everywhere else, too. Um, okay. But the thing that I was more concerned about was actually the bright bits. So let's try to get that into. So like here and here especially just like the corner of this thing here. That's extra super bright. I want to make sure it looks that way. And then over here, I'm going to blend in more of a bright color just to prepare for later things. I feel like I also need more the deep blues in there too. I feel like this blue just blends in too much, and it doesn't actually really do what I want it to. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. The rays of light will come later. Should I just put these other bits on a separate layer? That would probably be smarter. Okay, checking this again. I feel like this center thing is still like not bright enough. So let's get the blendy brush and blend in some lighter colors here. That's a little bit better. And then even this bit I want to make even brighter. Just really kind of push that to pop. I think that's good. But my stairs are still like non-existent, but that's not a huge deal. Okay. Let's see. Now I really need to get into all of the details of random stuff that I'm still missing. Um, I think it's probably getting too dark, but that's okay. Um, it can be fixed. I think my thing ended up being kind of too skinny. It needs to be bigger. Um, I think that'll do for that. You know what? I should do the middle thing first because that's kind of the most important bit. Um, oh, I'm gonna really need to go bright on that one, huh? Yeah. Mm, again, I feel like it's a little bit misaligned, but moving it would be too much work because it's blended into the other layers. Okay, I don't have time to make sure that's perfect, so I'm gonna have to move on and do other things. We have 20 minutes, which is a decent amount of time. I think this is probably the next thing to do. I think I'm gonna start with this, then work my way around here, and then if I have time, I'm gonna go back and fill in these other floaty bits and stuff, and this stuff. Okay. So actually, this dark color that I had here before should probably serve me well here. Greens in here. And then this color, I think, should do it. Wait, the brush is too soft for this, though. Thick paint. And you know what? I'm gonna paint in a little bit of the bright color with the softer brush, too. Just to give it some highlights. Okay, I think this looks okay. I think it's not dark enough. I think it needs to go even darker. Is that good enough? Maybe? Probably? That's probably good enough. Um, then let's get more of a teal color, I think. And get a brighter version. Actually, I think this greener. That's too green, actually, no. I do want to go with the teal after all. So there's that. This bit also needs to get a little bit darker. Actually, I can do that with a smaller brush to try to give it more texture. Time is starting to get a little bit tight, so this is the point where I start to just kind of fudge things, although, to be honest, I usually just fudge things from the beginning on these. That's kind of the name of the game. Okay. Now let's do this on a broader scale here a little bit. I think I'm going to go with the thick paint to do these bits. Unfortunately, it's hard for me to do the kind of gradient that they have here, unless I have like a brush that fades that way. Which I don't think I really have on hand. But yeah, I think that'll do. Maybe blend them in a little bit like this. There we go. Okay. Now, get me a blue with the thick brush, and I think my blue needs to be darker. Oh, oops. My tracking just died. Sorry, I'll try to bring that up when I can. No, I don't like these blues. It needs to be a kind of grayer. And then this one is even more gray. Ooh, we're at 50 minutes. Oh, time is ticking. I don't like how this is turning out, so I'm gonna give it some just extra bit of texture. I think that'll do. Oh, there's also all these like swirly bits that I would really like to put in. Let me see how fast I can put in some of these other little bits and bobs that are floating around here. think if I can more or less put them in one color and don't think too hard about, well, I guess two colors in this case. Don't think too hard about making them, like, accurate. I think I should be able to do this. Except that's not really going to work because these are very obviously different colors than the other ones are. There's all these bits of some kind of ruins over here. Here too. Um, all right, looking good. Let's see. I still have not forgotten about putting in the lights. Let's see how much I can put in this stuff at the top here. All right, we've got that. Right, let's try to put in these bits as well. This one's a little bit of a funny color because it has some like orange in it. I think I'm not going to worry too much about that. Uh, what else do I have left to do apart from kind of the final touch of the light? There's something over here. I'm not entirely sure what this even is. It almost looks like a waterfall, except this is already underwater. There's also these like little flowers coming in over here that might be nice to do. Let's get in some of these little like branch things. And I guess we'll go for the plants. To be honest, I feel like they don't really add to this bit here. Put in a bit here too. Let's see. swirly bits, maybe? I don't know. There's also bits of, like, kind of orange that I can try to put in just for a little kind of color contrast, but I feel like that wouldn't work super well. Let's just try to get our lights figured out. Start with the transparent brush, maybe. Mm. The problem with doing it with this kind of brush is that it kind of blends out the stuff underneath it. You know what? I actually don't like how that's looking at all. I think I'm going to just do that on a separate layer. Oops. Let's try the dense watercolor. Oh, I can just turn down the opacity. It'll be fine. Or what's the right thing for this? I think this one might be good for it. A bit with that. Oh, come on. Something like that, I guess. Oh, well, we're technically at time. Are there any last minute little tweaks that I wanted to do? Not really, honestly. It's obviously not perfect, but I think I'm quite satisfied with this one. Let's try the values again. See how close I got. Well, I think this face of this needs to be lighter. And here I just didn't put in the highlight at all. Yeah, and then the highlights here still need to be even lighter. Like these bits should be darker. Yeah. I think overall these usually end up being just like slightly washed out, but I think that's partially due to my rush and the fact that I use kind of soft brushes that blend into each other a little bit. Um, but anyway, yeah, I'm quite satisfied with this one. I think it looks very nice. There we go, the finished result. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be doing this again next week, as usual. Speedpaint Sunday, 4 p.m. EST every week, more or less, unless other plans get in my way. In the meantime, on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to be doing some game streams. This week, I'm starting a new game, which is called, what was it? No Case Should Remain Unsolved, which is like mystery detective game. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. Hope to see you guys there, or at the very least next week at my next speed paint. But yeah, whatever you guys end up doing. I hope you have a good rest of your day and rest of your week, whatever. Hope to see you later. Bye.